done, I was like, okay, I'm done. And then my mom, I can always hear my mom go, where are you going? I don't know.
Figure it out when we get there.
I'll tell you where I used to ride my bike. It will sound so like, what's there? I used to ride my bike every day.
I'll take care of English first, and then we'll have Tanya take care of Spanish for Spanish. She good? All right. Take your time. Yeah. Let me know. I'll keep on talking. Nobody's live, right? Just maybe back to the station. That's it. Cool. Good. Nobody's live. All right. Good. Good.
Well,
Key.
I'm streaming that. Yeah.
Just your station.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Oh, live. Got it.
Yeah, it is live.
Got it.
Sorry.
All right. No worries. That's why I'd ask. It's all good. That's fine.
I don't even know.
No, that's why it's always good to ask. All right. Let me know. Everybody got sound? All right. Sergeant Jorge Garibay, San Jose Police Department PIO. Jorge, Jorge. Last name Garibay. So, yesterday morning at approximately 11:38 a.m., officers responded to the 500 block of El Paseo de Saratoga in response to a shooting. When officers arrived, they located an adult male and an adult female, both on the ground, suffering from at least one gunshot wound each. Medics responded to the scene and declared both of those subjects deceased there at the scene. Our homicide unit responded to the scene, conducted a comprehensive investigation, and what we've learned so far is that the adult male is our suspect and had been in a dating relationship with our female victim that ended several months earlier. What we learned was that that suspect responded to that location where the victim was, confronted her, shot her multiple times before turning the gun on himself, and then killing them both. Currently, this is the city's 4th homicide of 2026, and the motive and the circumstances we're still in the middle of investigating. Ultimately, what we'd like to ensure to the public is, although that this suspect is deceased, there's still a lot of things that we need to get answered. There is a lot we still want to hear from our community, and to know that despite this suspect being deceased, our detectives are continuing to work on getting answers for this family to ensure that this victim story isn't reduced to a single headline. And ultimately, what we'd like the public to know as well is that if you are in a similar situation with a partner, intimate partner violence impacts everybody in a different way, to please contact the San Jose Police Department if you need any assistance, especially if it's immediate, to call 911. If you're looking for additional resources, there is a National Domestic Violence Hotline that you can get to 24/7, or you can even text 88788. But if that, I'll take any other questions.
You know, there are a lot of organizations like nonprofit that will help victims of domestic violence, but I know that also if they wanna come to the police department just to report an incident, they can come here. Can you explain the process if they also wanna get a restraining order? How can they get help from the police department in case they come to the lobby?
Yeah, so ultimately the first step is contacting law enforcement. The only way we can help with prevention or determination is by knowing about the incident. And doing so can help us get you into contact with those advocates who are free resources available to survivors of intimate partner violence. And ultimately, we just get you in contact with the right people. If something is happening immediately, there is opportunities for an emergency protective order that we can get a judge who's available 24/7 to provide that restraining order. However, there are different types of restraining orders. Ultimately, they need to do the first step is contact the police department either in person or on the phone. We will get an officer there and then determine how best work through their situation.
And was there any prior reports regarding this suspect?
So no, right now our indication is we had no prior police contact related to any kind of domestic violence or intimate partner violence or disturbances between these two individuals.
Did he have a past? We've got another gentleman with the same name that was tried in family court 2 years ago for violence.
Not the same person. Yeah, so our suspect here did not have any reportable or any documented criminal history that we could find.
What kind of weapon was used? Was it registered? Anything regarding the weapon?
The weapon was a handgun that was legally registered to the suspect.
What age range were they?
I believe the victim was 24, and I believe the suspect was in his early 40s. I'm not entirely sure. It's in our press release.
Can you talk about the nature of the relationship? How long you've been together, when they broke up, and that?
No, so the only thing that I'm aware of right now, and again, our detectives are still hard at work. This obviously happened early in the hours yesterday morning, so there's still a lot of information we don't know. However, we have been able to learn, or they have been able to learn so far, that they were in a dating relationship that did end several months earlier, prior to this incident, so several months ago, before this incident occurred. We, again, from the police department, didn't have any type of reportable incidents between the two, and we're hoping to talk, more with family, with friends, and maybe any bystanders or coworkers of that sort that may have more information that can shed light on how this happened, whether it could have been prevented, or any kind of other information we can, because ultimately, as I mentioned in kind of my opener here, is we'd like to just be able to give a little bit of closure to the family of kind of what occurred and how much we were able to learn.
Did she work there in that strip mall? Is that why he was headed there?
Correct, yeah. Our victim was employed at that, at a business inside of that area.
Did the incident happen inside or outside or on the sidewalk?
The incident occurred in the parking lot, outside.
Do we know sort of how that went down? Like, did he go in, ask her to come outside? Like, do we know the dynamics at the beginning of it?
So I think we're still in the middle of going through video and talking to witnesses. Our current understanding, and again, that's our current understanding, is that the victim was already outside when the suspect pulled up next to where the victim was, and then I think immediately confronted the victim by shooting the victim. I don't know if there was an exchange of words or some other type of verbal altercation prior to. Our indication currently is that it happened quite rapidly.
So the victim was still in her car?
I don't think so. Our victim was outside, at least when we arrived. I don't know necessarily whether or not the original confrontation involved them being inside or outside of their vehicle. However, when we arrived, both the victim and suspect were outside of their vehicle on the ground.
Can you talk about any concern there may be around gun violence after, while this is an isolated incident, there's been several high-profile shootings within the city and places that seemingly safe, including Saratoga?
Yeah, San Jose is a very safe city. California in general is a very safe city. What we're seeing is a proliferation of access to firearms now. A lot of these firearms are being 3D printed. They're just so much more accessible. What I would call in my days of when I originally started as a newer officer was the average, hey, you got a drug pinch or a drug arrest, is not what we're seeing with guns. There's just people who are, a lot more people are armed with firearms. It's not necessarily an indication of whether or not anything is safe. It's more about how these individuals are using some of these firearms. In this specific instance, this suspect was legally the owner of the firearm and just chose to use it in a legal manner. And whether or not there could have been any signs that could have led us down to whether this person should have had a restraining order, a gun violence protective order, that's something that we're going to look into. But ultimately, when it comes down to overall gun violence, I don't think we can really paint the picture with this scenario about whether or not something is safe. I can say that we are seeing a lot more firearms on our streets. Not necessarily San Jose. This is a nationwide problem. But ultimately, I think in instances like this specifically, had there been signs, and again, I don't know that yet because there's a lot we're trying to figure out. There's a lot of remedies that we can do specifically when somebody is a legally registered firearm.
Were there other people in the vicinity at the time of the shooting? I mean, were there other people at risk despite the fact that these two knew each other?
Yeah, so I don't know how in an immediate vicinity, like in terms of whether they were in the parking lot. We do know that there was plenty of other people in that shopping center, and that was only fortunate portion of that it allowed us to have witnesses who had an account of what occurred. But, that's also something that they're going to have to live with for the rest of their lives. So it is unfortunate. They're going to be at risk either way, whether or not it was from gunfire, but ultimately with the trauma of what they may have seen.
I don't know if you can tell us this, but how long had the gun been registered?
I don't have enough on the history other than that it was legally registered to our suspect. All right, we'll go ahead and do Spanish. All right, thank you.
You want to grab mics?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Oh, because it's so high. Yeah. I'm on.
I'm the pool, yeah, so I gotta.
Oh, okay. I'll get mine because we gotta go live.
Can you come back and say you didn't turn the hotspot on so I can...
What?
Can you just turn the hotspot on?
It's on.
No, there was no internet in the car.
It's on the back. You just press the button.
Can you just come with me? Because it's
Yeah.
on the back of what?
It's on the back of the console, the center console, where you put your elbow. Here, you'll figure it out. Just go in your seat and look in back of the center console. It's right there. Velcro to it.